The slap comes without warning. A sharp crack, too clean to be accidental. The sound crosses the room before the pain does. Glasses stop clinking. Conversations die. My cheek burns, but that's not what makes me stagger. She doesn't shout. She leans in just enough for me to catch her scent measured, familiar, and she whispers, "You're nothing but trash I picked up." Her fingers leave my face the way one removes a signature from a document that's already been approved. Around us, the frozen guests understand the message. This isn't a scene, it's a social execution. I stay upright. If I move, I lose what little I have left. Behind her, 4 men in suits watch without intervening. Executives, allies, useful witnesses. One of them almost smiles, as if everything is going according to plan. The music resumes too quickly. The world accepts the imposed order. I feel the blood pounding in my temple. I could respond. One word would be enough to crack the facade. But silence is still my refuge. Not out of weakness, out of calculation. I lower my eyes just enough to give them what they expect. She straightens up. She's won this round. Her posture relaxes. She knows no one here owes me anything. She also knows I officially owe her everything. A server passes near us. I recognize his hesitant step, his tie pulled too tight. He saw. He didn't look away. He watches without judging, memorizes without intervening. When our eyes meet, he doesn't lower his gaze. He notes something, as if filing away an invisible piece of evidence. My wife ignores him. She's already speaking to an investor, voice low, gestures precise. She's rewriting the evening in real time. I've become an embarrassing detail, soon to be erased. I touch my cheek. The heat is real, the shame too heavy. Shared. Nervous laughter breaks out somewhere. Someone applauds an improvised speech. The system starts turning again, indifferent to human damage. I head for the bar. Each step is a concession. Each glance, a verdict. In the mirror's reflection, I see the man they think they know. Discreet, dependent, interchangeable. They built that image carefully. I let it live because it protected me. The server sets a glass in front of me without a word. He slides the napkin under the crystal, slightly askew. A tiny gesture, a signal. His eyes tell me he heard more than insults tonight. That he saw figures on screens, signatures on tablets left open. That he knows where to look. My wife raises her glass for a toast. The lights dim. Alliances are sealed. I understand then that the slap wasn't an ending, but an opening. A public warning meant to stop me from speaking at the wrong moment. I lift the glass to my lips without drinking. The liquid barely trembles. In this chosen silence, I decide not to correct anything. Not yet, because what they're celebrating tonight rests on a very precise accounting lie. And lies have an expiration date. I discover the truth in a corridor too narrow for confidences. The walls are lined with portraits of former leaders, all men who learned how to smile after winning. The server joins me silently. He asks nothing. He waits. He places a forgotten tablet on a cart. The screen is still on. A capitalization table flickers, updated minutes ago. Names align with cold precision. I recognize my wife's at the top, haloed by a reassuring percentage. Then I see mine, lower down, almost hidden in a secondary line. 51%, majority, decisive. I don't touch the screen. Knowing is enough. That number isn't a surprise. It's the result of years of choices made in the shadows. Clauses written late at night. Signatures obtained when no one was watching. I let them believe I was just a useful spouse, logistical support. They let it happen, convinced ignorance was my ceiling. The server finally breaks the silence. They talk too loudly when they think they're alone. He looks away, as if he's already said too much. He's a man without title, without official access. But he sees the cracks. He gathers the crumbs of information, the powerful drop. He knows what he's seen could cost him dearly. He also knows silence has a price. Back in the room, voices rise. A controlled laugh, the kind of man who negotiates without ever losing. I recognize it. The CFO. Calm, methodical. The system incarnate. He never strikes. He erases. I understand the slap was a cover. While all eyes were on my humiliation, an amendment was introduced. An emergency meeting scheduled for dawn. A discreet transfer legal. Almost elegant. They want to dilute what they don't control. I thank the server with a nod. He's not waiting for gratitude, he's waiting for a decision. If he speaks, he becomes visible. If he stays silent, he stays safe. I promise him nothing. I can't. I return to the room. My wife is seated now, relaxed, surrounded by advisors. She avoids my gaze. It's not shame. It's confidence. She believes time is on her side. She believes love has made me predictable. I sit at a distance. I listen. Every sentence is a clue. Every silence, a strategy. The CFO mentions stability. Another speaks of capital cleanup. Clean words for dirty actions. My phone vibrates. A message without a name. Meeting moved up. Documents ready. They know I'm here. They know I won't intervene. Not yet. I think of the server, motionless near the exit, useless to them, essential to me. I think of the number, 51%, weighing like a weapon I've chosen not to draw. My wife stands to offer a final toast. Glasses rise in unison. She finally smiles at me, a smile that says, "You're already finished." I raise my glass too. The liquid is steady. So is my hand. Because tomorrow morning, they'll sign something they didn't reread. And at that precise moment, silence will stop protecting me. Resistance begins before dawn. In a building no one lingers in. The meeting room smells of cold coffee and new plastic. Screens light up one by one. The same faces appear calm, prepared. They slept. So did I. But not for the same reasons. The CFO speaks first. He doesn't look at me. He presents figures, projections, acceptable risks. His voice is flat, designed to lull vigilance. On screen, a new capital distribution takes shape. My share is reduced, sliced up, rendered harmless by a series of pre-recorded votes. Everything is legal. Everything is clean. My wife listens without taking notes. She already knows the ending. She approved the path. Her calm is disciplined. She learned not to show intentions, only results. I don't speak. The silence reassures them. They read my absence as late capitulation. One of them, an external lawyer, slips a document into the digital workflow. An emergency clause, triggered in case of emotional disengagement. I understand the message. They've turned our relationship into a governance variable. A slight clearing of the throat interrupts the process. The previous night server stands near the door, allowed here only because he carries trays. No one pays him attention. That's his advantage. He watches signatures accumulate, glances that avoid a line blinking too long on screen. He approaches to set down a cup. He murmurs, barely moving his lips. They moved the source files, not the backups. I don't respond. One word too many would put him in danger. A gesture is enough. I slide my phone under the table, screen lit. He sees the message I don't send. He understands. He steps back. The CFO announces a technical break. Screens freeze. That's when I feel the pressure shift, not a frontal attack, but a slow compression. They know something is resisting, without knowing what. Their system hates the unknown. My wife stands and comes toward me, stopping at a distance. Her voice is low, controlled. You should sign. For your dignity. She's not talking about money. She's talking about social survival. About what I'll have left when it's over. In her eyes, I don't see cruelty, but an early acquired certainty. Power forgives everything except unpredictability. I look at the document. I could sign, lose quietly, leave intact officially. But the server returns, sets down another cup. This time, the napkin is folded differently. Inside, a tiny USB key. No one notices the exchange. Everyone looks at the ceiling, waiting. I realize then he's no longer alone. Someone else is watching, someone even more discreet. An internal auditor, ignored for years, has left an unvalidated report lying around. The pieces are assembling without a sound. The break ends. Screens come back on. The CFO finally smiles, confident. We can resume. I still haven't spoken. But now the silence isn't submission. It's anticipation. Because the system they built has a precise flaw, and someone has just entered it. Truth doesn't come through the front door. It travels through cables, timestamps, margins, no one rereads. When I plug in the USB key, nothing happens on the main screen. That's intentional. It feeds a secondary server, the one only auditors use when they doubt without wanting to say so. The CFO keeps talking. He lays out a controlled crisis scenario. His voice is still calm, but his sentences shorten. He feels resistance without being able to name it. The system trained him to ignore what doesn't officially appear. My wife finally looks at me, not with anger, with precise, surgical worry. She understands I won't sign. She doesn't yet understand why. The internal auditor raises his hand. A rare gesture, almost indecent. He doesn't apologize. He simply asks permission to verify a temporal inconsistency in the records. The CFO nods too quickly. Refusing would draw attention. Accepting seems risk-free. Secondary screens light up, lines of code, dates, digital signatures that don't match. Not a spectacular fraud. Worse, a series of micro-adjustments, harmless alone, irrefutable together. The kind of truth that doesn't shout but doesn't disappear either. The silence thickens. Air conditioning hums. Someone coughs. My wife slowly sits back down, crossing her arms as if to contain something threatening to spill. The auditor speaks little. He shows. He lets the numbers do the work. A dilution programmed before the public incident. Votes recorded before being announced. Illegal anticipation, masked by complexity. The system against itself. The CFO doesn't deny it. He reframes. He speaks of aggressive practices, gray areas. He invokes necessity, protecting the company. He's sincere. That's what makes him dangerous. He believes the end justifies the architecture. I feel the gazes turn toward me not to save me, but to understand when I stop being useful. My wife stares at me, and for the first time, I see a crack. Not regret, incomprehension. She thought she knew me, thought she'd classified me. The server is gone. He's done what he had to do. His disappearance is his protection. The auditor, meanwhile, becomes visible despite himself. Every sentence he speaks puts him at risk. He knows it. He continues anyway. That's the cost of speaking. The board chair calls for an immediate suspension. Lawyers appear on screen. Time contracts. Everyone searches for an exit that doesn't look like a fall. I finally speak. Few words. Just a question about the validity of a specific vote, time-stamped at an hour when I was still asleep. The number 51% doesn't appear. It doesn't need to. It's already there in the consequences. My wife looks away. She understands the battle is no longer conjugal. It's structural. She struck a man. She awakened a silent majority. The meeting adjourns without conclusion. Officially, nothing is decided. Unofficially, everything has changed. Alliances reconfigure at a speed that leaves marks. I leave without triumph. In the hallway, my phone vibrates. A message from the board. Immediate protective measures. I stop. I know what that means. The truth has been heard. Now it will be attacked. The measures fall silently. No press release. No cameras. Just suspended access. Emptied calendars. Frozen signatures. Truth doesn't win with spectacle. It wins through immobilization. I'm summoned, not congratulated. A neutral room, windowless. The board chair speaks of institutional protection. He doesn't look at me as a hero, but as a risk to be contained. The CFO is gone, officially on leave, unofficially erased. My wife arrives late. For the first time, she sits far from me. There's no role left to play, no stage, only facts larger than us. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't accuse either. She understands the architecture she served, never planned for love, only utility. The internal auditor delivers his final report. His voice trembles slightly. He knows his career has changed trajectory, not upward, but toward truth. No one thanks him. They simply note his work will be taken into consideration. That's how the system absorbs those who correct it. I finally sign. Not what they wanted yesterday. A dry transitional document. It formally recognizes the majority. 51%. The number appears, black on white, without emphasis, no applause, just a dense, reluctant respect in the silence. My wife looks at the paper as one looks at a foreign language. She thought she owned the narrative. She discovers she controlled only the surface. What she lost isn't the company, it's certainty. And with it, something irreparable between us. We leave separately. In the lobby, the server is there, in uniform, as if nothing happened. He avoids my gaze. I do the same. We now share the same rule. What saves you does not show itself. In the days that follow, adjustments continue. Names disappear from org charts. Others appear cautious ones. The company survives, amputated but more honest. I stay, not out of victory, out of responsibility. One evening, alone in the now silent office, I pass a mirror. My cheek is no longer red. The mark has faded, not the impact. I understand that some violence leaves no visible trace, but reorganizes everything that follows. I think of the slap, of the sentence. It was false, but it revealed what everyone believed was true. Power loves humiliation because it simplifies the world. I look out the window. The city goes on, indifferent. The truth didn't shout. It waited. And when it finally spoke, it took something no percentage can restore: the possibility of going back. If this story made you feel the weight of silence, if you believe some truths change everything without making a sound, subscribe for more stories where power wavers. Leave a like to support stories that dare to face reality. Share in the comments the moment you realized everything had shifted. Because sometimes listening all the way through is already an act of resistance.